angels, it's Hailey Reese, and I hope that you are having an absolutely fantastic morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you, when this video finally reaches you. Today's video is one that if you'd have told me a month ago I'd be making, I would absolutely never have believed you, but unfortunately, this is where we're at right now, and I know you guys saw my last video, my montage for my grams, but on Thursday, May 20th, 2021, my beautiful grandma, who has always been my angel, gained her angel wings and unfortunately passed away. I've really waited on filming this video because it's been a series of emotions for me. One minute I'm heartbroken, I'm angry, I want to punch the floor, I'm just beside myself. And then the next minute, my heart is smiling because my grandma's with my grandpa again, which is her favorite person on planet Earth, other than me. I'm kidding. But it was something that she longed for. And I just keep going between these weird emotions. Like, grief is such a strange string of events. It's like, one minute I'm bawling my eyes out, I'm angry, I can't believe she's gone, I'm going to call her when I suddenly realize that she can't answer. And then 10 minutes later, I'm like, she's with grandpa, she's my angel, it was her time. Like, it's a very strange string of emotions for me, but you guys have been such a big part of my grandma's life. My channel took off when I was living with my grandma still, and this channel is not only like my pride and joy. You guys are not only my family, but it was my grandma's pride and joy too, and you guys were her family. And throughout all of this, I've been so open, honest, and transparent about what was going on that the montage that I posted of Grams' time here on my channel didn't suffice for me, and I wasn't comfortable with just moving on to regular content after that video. I felt like it was really important for me to tell you guys what ended up happening, how she ended up passing, why she passed, and what all of your generous and like your kind donations went to for my grandma. So that is today's video. I'm going to update you guys on how my grandma passed away and just everything around it, and then regular content can resume because that is what my grandma would want me to do. She used to give me shit. I'm going to swear. I never swear on this channel. She used to give me shit that I would upload like one video a week, etc. So for her, I got to get back to what I love. It just didn't feel right to do so without this sit down video. So the last that we had spoken, I told you guys how my grandma had to go in for emergency colon surgery. And that was the last time I ever heard her speak. Frick, I didn't think I was gonna get emotional. I've like literally cried so many tears at this point. It feels like I have no tears left to cry, literally. But she told me she was hopeful and that she was going to fight as long as she could. And I made her promise to not leave me. And so she went in for that surgery, and that surgery went well. And then when we ended up speaking with the doctor afterwards, we found out that should she even recover, her life wouldn't resume. She wouldn't be able to go back home. She would need long-term care. That her medical would be covered because we live in Canada, but her room and board, etc., would need payment. And so my family started the GoFundMe, which I told you guys about. And you guys, oh, they're gonna make me cry talking about it. You guys were so generous. My family can never thank you guys enough for your prayers, your kindness, your generosity. It was unbelievable. My uncle, he knew about my channel. He was supportive of me, but on my grandma's last day with us, and I'll tell you more about that after, he was rubbing her hand and my hand to God. He was saying to my grandma, I underplayed the Reese's Pieces and how much they loved you. Sometimes I thought Hailey was gassing your head up by saying that they loved you so much. And he said, I'm blown away by the love and support and the prayers and the generosity and the kindness. And I was literally like there crying because my grandma couldn't answer us at this point. She was put on life support immediately after her surgery. She was on dialysis and full life support. She couldn't speak. Her eyes would sometimes open. They looked scary, to be honest, when they would. But he was saying how you guys were a force to be reckoned with, and it was so surreal. But anyways, so for the days following my grandma's second surgery that I told you guys about, for a few days she had no changes. So she wasn't better and she wasn't worse, and I was accepting of that. I was like, you know what? Clearly, she's just healing at her own pace, at her own time. She's not gonna leave. And then on May 19th, we got a phone call saying that we need to come to the hospital and talk about our options. And this kind of took me by surprise because I thought our options were keep grandma alive, and then, yeah, she'll need long-term care or rehabilitation, but she'll be fine. And my mom, my uncle, and I went to the hospital, and oh God, I don't want to cry. She looked terrible. All her fingers were blue, like black and blue. Her feet were blue. It took me like 20 minutes to go over to her because I didn't want to cry over her, because I was optimistic and I had faith she'd be okay. And I didn't, like, the nurse said that she could hear us even though she was sedated and on life support. So I didn't want her to hear me crying and think it was over. I wanted her to hear me laughing and rejoicing in her and telling her she was going to be okay. So I hid in the corner, and then the nurse came in and said, I'm going to bring chairs in. So she put a chair for me in the corner. And then the nurse came in and sat down, and she said she was a really straight shooter, which in hindsight I appreciate. In the moment I was a little annoyed. She started saying that my grandma's quality of life won't be there, and that she's only going to get worse. And then in the same breath, she was saying my grandma could hear us. And that wasn't sitting right with me, but I wasn't going to cause an argument. I'm non-confrontational, but she was just saying that she was so sick and that she wouldn't make it, and if she did, she'd probably resent us for keeping her here. And I just sat there quiet. I just cried. And I remember I looked up at her and I said, it was just supposed to be an aneurysm surgery. She said, I know. Sometimes that happens that way. And so we told her everything we wanted to tell her. And my uncle started first. He started saying, Mom, if you want to go be with the dog, I'll never forget it. Like, you guys are my family, so I'm being honest. If this is too much for you, you can click out. I'll never forget it. My uncle was holding her hand, and my mom was there, and I was in the corner because I was scared to see her like that. She had this big, like, blood blister, like, big on her chest that my mom pulled her gown down and started saying, what is this? And I told my mom, cover that up. I don't want to see her fingers. I don't want to see her feet. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it. And my uncle started telling her, you need to go be with Dad. See, I thought I had no tears left to cry, but this is hard. He said, if you need to go be with Dad, they took him way too soon. And I know all you've wanted to do is see him again. So he was telling her, it's okay if you want to go. It's okay. My mom said the same thing, and then I went over and I touched her arm, and it was like so full of fluid. Like, it didn't feel like her anymore. And I was like, Grandma, it's okay if you can't keep your promise to me. I forgive you. You have fought, and you have fought, and you have fought. And I see that fight. But I don't want you to live a life that you're gonna resent us for putting you through. So I like pulled my mask down, sorry. And I was kissing her head, and I was kissing her hands and touching her arm that didn't feel like hers anymore. And I said, you can let go. but just show me butterflies. Anytime you're around, I just want to see butterflies. That was our thing. We had a joke that fairies disguise themselves as butterflies. And we all had the most like beautiful hours with her. Like, even though she couldn't answer, we told her everything. We laughed, we cried, we told her everything. And then the doctor came. And so we went to talk to the doctor, and he said they could keep her alive. And this is what's crazy, you guys. There's a few things that are crazy for me throughout this. Number one, the day before, on May 1st, they were moving into their new house. I texted my mom saying I just started crying because I knew someday we weren't all going to be here. May 2nd was when my grandma's feet first turned black from her aneurysm, and she went to the hospital. My angels told me she was going to go. And then my grandma used to tell me that with my grandpa, he held on for a long time. That's a whole other story for a whole other day. But she said that when she finally told him, Barry, you don't have to be strong for me, you can go, he went. And so we're out in the hallway because the doctor asked if we wanted to talk in like the ICU room or outside of it. So we went outside of it, we were talking, and he said, we can keep her alive on life support. And if, and it's a big if, she pulls through. Oh, I didn't even tell you guys what was wrong. At this point, so she went in for her aneurysm. Sorry, this is all over the place. She went in for her aneurysm surgery. She bled out too much. So her blood pressure dropped. So her organs weren't getting blood. So she was in respiratory failure, circulatory failure, kidney failure, and liver failure. So he said if she pulled through, they don't even know if neurologically she'd be the same person, like cognitively, because if all of her other organs were failing from lack of oxygen, there is a risk that her brain was too. Because right after that surgery, like, she was coherent, her eyes were rolling back, it was awful to see, but she was coherent. Like, I said to her, grandma, who's holding your hand? She said, Hailey. And we talked about a million things. And so since then, like after that, when they put her on life support, they didn't know if she was cognitively okay, because if her other organs had lack of oxygen, there's a chance her brain was too, and they wouldn't know until they woke her up and she was weaned off the machines. But he literally said to us, it's not a quality of life. Like, if she was going to survive, it wouldn't be good. So we went home, and I remember Tyler wasn't home because he had like a meeting somewhere, and I fell to the floor, and I just like screamed and cried and begged, and we decided that in the coming days we were gonna let her go because we didn't want her to suffer. And then that night I got a phone call in the early morning. I think it was around 4 a.m. I don't even remember. And they said, you gotta come, she's not well. And Tyler and I jumped in the car and we rushed to the hospital. It was around like 25 minutes away. And when we were pulling up, I called my mom and I was like, where are you? And she said, none of us made it. She passed away. Her heart just stopped. And it's such a strange thing because I was heartbroken that I lost one of my best friends in the whole entire world. But then also I was thanking God that she made the choice. It was her time to go home, because if they would have pulled the plug, I would have supported it, like pulled the plug, so to speak. They told us that what they would do is they would lessen her blood pressure medication that was keeping her blood pressure up, and then naturally her heart would stop, and they'd pull like the, oh my God, I can't even think right now. They'd pull out her life support, and then within 10 minutes she'd pass. And I would have always wondered, like, miracles happen all the time. Would a miracle have happened? And so the fact that after we all told her it was okay to let go, she went that night, brings me some sort of peace. But I can't believe I lost her. Like, I don't even, guys, like, I've prolonged this video a week because I don't even know what to say. And there's gonna be people who say I don't care and that I'm not upset enough, but like, you guys have no idea. That was like my person. I had my first sleepover there. I was 3 days old. I don't know life without her. Even from when she was sick and she couldn't answer me, the amount of times I've tried to call her is like, it sucks. But she's with my grandpa. And I hold a lot of peace in that because they were soulmates. And they're together again. My grandma loved you all, I think, more than you'll ever know. I think it's difficult to think that a stranger on someone's channel could actually like love you all like that, but she did. And I will live every day to make her proud. You know what's crazy is this past year has been really hard. And everyone was commenting on my weight gain. So I didn't want to see people because I felt like I looked horrible. And when I finally saw my grandma, because we've all been in lockdown and stuff, the first thing she told me was how beautiful I looked. And I'll just never live life the same, for the better, for her. Because seeing her laying there, this is morbid, reminded me that someday that will be me. And it doesn't really matter what people think of me because at the end of it all, I'll still be gone. I want to end this video by letting you guys know, not only have you changed my life, but you've changed hers. For those of you who donated, it went to my grandma's funeral arrangements, and we're making a memorial for her, a fairy garden memorial with a stone for my grandpa and her, and then all these different flowers. I'm gonna plant some in memory of, I'm gonna plant some in, like from you guys, from the Reese's Pieces, and make her the most beautiful fairy garden she could ever have dreamt of. But yeah, I love you guys so much. This has been heartbreaking. I loved her so much with all that I had. And COVID took a lot of time from us. But I know it's just goodbye for now, not forever. And so I'm gonna live in her honor, and there's gonna be so much content coming because she would have wanted me to do what I love and stop holding myself back because of my own pain and insecurities. So regular content will be resuming, truly. And if I seem happy in every video going forward, it's because I'm doing what I love in honor of her. So thank you for everything, for saving my life, for giving my grandma so much purpose in the last years, for loving her as much as I do, and for the many years to come. I love you guys. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness. And until next time, mwah! Love you.